The Joy Wisdom Trust has been set up to highlight a lot of these things that are not common knowledge, highlighting the birth trauma, allergies, etc., that has affected children, their eczema, skin issues, gut issues, allergies, etc., that come from birth trauma, and issues around the health of the baby, not picking up good bacteria, immune system reduction, so on and so forth. That happens because of essentially type of birth, but also the trauma around birth, the knock-on effect. So we're going to have a look at allergies and eczema today. It's very common for children to have these things, and it's more common than ever. It also happens to adults. It can, as we do in JWT, looking at the history and the background, they could have had it as a child and then resurrects again. This is why we need to deal with the core of the issue and remove it, and then we haven't got the bigger aspects or repeat that will happen in adulthood. Stress and trauma are very much involved in all cases, young and older. It doesn't matter your age, you will still have the response, the physical response that goes with that. So it can be a combination issue. It can be unique to the individual, the infant, the adult, and it's very distressing. It's uncomfortable. This little girl here, she had eczema, as you can see on her face, and she was just weeks old when it started. Worst condition for an infant because they can't tell you, they can't communicate with you, and why it's so important to look at the bigger picture. Parents are concerned, they're out of their depth, they haven't got the knowledge to be able to help their infant, and certainly from a medical perspective, it is creams, etc. Whereas the skin is the result of whatever it is. Topical creams may slow it down. However, the irritation, and as for this little one here, her irritation was that her mother lost her father when she was 7 months pregnant. And of course, the mother went into grief and sadness, as you would. The little one absorbed it, and it created this irritation for her, and it came out with digestive issues and skin issues. It's also involved in hormones and the secretion and the element and combination of those hormones that the formation has created for that infant. So it's a much, much, much bigger picture underlying these issues. They can become very sensitive to food and drink, such as they can be lactose intolerance, they can be missing enzymes, there can be malabsorption, which means that the digestive system does not take all the goodness from the food or the milk that they're having, etc., and it comes out as skin disorders or digestive disorders. For instance, they are not secreting as much as they should, or their motions change in consistency, etc., that tells you that the digestive system isn't working as it should do. Anxiety and distress makes the situation worse, and it is a cycle and circle, because what they're feeling makes them distressed, the anxiety. So it becomes a cycle and circle that goes on, making everybody miserable and unhappy, that radiates out to the family. So certainly mum's digestive system can affect the function of the infant's digestion, whether mum has enough good bacteria to pass on to the baby in the vaginal births. Certainly, as I was saying about Elise, Julia was ill, good bacteria, mum had digestive issues, wasn't as good as it could have been for the infant. So the infant picks up that good bacteria as it comes through the birth canal, gives it bases. When you are breastfeeding, also gives them good immunity and bacteria, good bacteria for the baby. And so they are building defense process within them, giving them a good start to life. Unfortunately, if there is C-section or baby isn't breastfed, then the baby misses out on that on that process, be more prone to these situations of eczema and digestive systems impaired, malabsorption, etc., because they haven't got the enzymes and the right mix of bacteria that is going to help them to digest. So immunity can be compromised when we have these situations. Trauma can interfere with that process too, the digestive system. Trauma hits the head first and then goes down to the gut, where the digestive system starts to foul up as the baby grows. Mother's diet needs scrutiny when breastfeeding, because what they're eating may be irritating the digestion of the infant, weakening the infant's digestion, their compatibility, digestive system improvements that can then give them a strong base. A good digestive system is essential in life today because of all the toxins, E numbers, etc., that go into food, creates decline of our gut. Most chronic illnesses start in the gut. So it's really important for us to have a good digestive system. The bowel, the skin, the kidney, the bladder are the main excretory systems to get rid of waste in the body. And when this is interrupted, the skin reacts. Sensitivities result when impairment is underlying. And certainly these areas of skin disorders that you can see, that is the result of the internal state. We need to take a step back, have a look at the internal state, what's going on there for them. Anxiety, distress will be there, but then we need to look at what the underlying trauma and where that has come from them. Adults also get what is normally called dermatitis. It's not called eczema, it's dermatitis, and that can do the same thing. The thing is with trauma is that we end up by being sensitive to everything. And when it's coming out in the skin like this, once it becomes sensitive, we have to try and find a way of reducing that sensitivity that then allows the skin to start to react in a different way. And by doing that, we can then help them to recover, changing the diet, changing and looking at what's going on for them as an adult or as a child. As an infant, it's a little bit more restrictive. And it's certainly, if there is breastfeeding, then we need to look at mother's diet and the compatibility with the infant. So certainly we can have an aversion within, an irritation underlying skin issues. Dairy and wheat are high on the list to avoid with eczema, especially with toddlers, etc. And some children have lactose intolerance that is underlying. It's the same with adults. Lactose intolerance is very, very prevalent within society. Citric acid is constant that comes up with children with eczema, and it's around what you use that will also irritate them. The infant bubbles that you will put in the bath, etc. All of those will have to be reevaluated, and their shampoos, etc. It needs to be a very, very gentle type of soap. Otherwise, it irritates the skin. Dehydration is another area where people can be, affects the skin drastically and the digestive system when people do not drink enough water. The skin needs water to become supple. The diet has a huge impact, and bananas, milk, or goat's milk, cheese, especially the milk and the goat's milk, it has the lactose in it. If an infant or an adult hasn't got the enzymes, they've missed out on those enzymes, they start to react. Certain juices, potatoes, wheat, grains, eggs, essentially it becomes a domino effect, because what you ate before will affect you now because of the sensitivities and the aversions that you have. So you can certainly have a domino effect here, and it's taking it back, paring it back until we start to get more response. I've found that once the eczema has been healed and reduced, people can start reintroducing those other foods, and they'll be fine. And they can go on to eat those things, reintroduce them, and your body will be able to take those foods again without the aversion that comes from the oversensitivity. There can be a cocktail reasons why a child is suffering. There's certainly an increase in allergies in children, especially asthma and eczema. Eczema can affect the nails, the skin, dairy food allergies, dehydration, as aversions. But as I've said, you could have had those, eaten those very easily and not had an issue, and then suddenly you do. Something else that's been introduced that is highlighting the deficiencies within the physicality that needs looking at. So there are links between nervous and digestive systems. In very recent years, doctors now see the connection from nervous and digestive systems, particularly the vagus nerve, which feeds major organs and digestive systems. The two realms constantly exchange information, chemical and electrical messages, and anything that affects one will affect the other. So the connections are so tight that scientists often refer to the one entity as gut-brain axis. Reducing stress, depression, anxiety will go a long way towards calming the gut area. She was distressed, angry, frustrated, hyperactive, and confused. She'd had 4 years of this, and that you can see that on her legs as well as her face. Mom said that she would wake up every morning and think, what can I do to help her little girl? She was worried about her going to school. She was missing out on activities because she couldn't go swimming, she couldn't have friends over, she couldn't go and stay with friends, etc. And life became very, very restrictive for them. Mum had done everything that she could, special diet, homeopathy, buying cotton clothes, etc., etc. She'd gone to a lot of trouble to try and help her daughter. But Mum was stressed. She was at her wit's end as to what to do. As I said, I found the mother had lost her father when she was 7 months pregnant and went into the natural process of grief, etc., that you would do. But unfortunately, 7 months pregnant, and it is in this third trimester where these things seem to form, the baby absorbed that and it came out as this irritation. As you can see, the eczema there. She was just a couple of weeks old when that all started to come out. And I've known other babies, even a week after birth, the eczema arrives, which is very much around the gestation period, what went on then for the mum, etc., and any abnormal things, especially around trauma, etc., or shock that can be received. It's logic that when mum is pregnant, her feelings will affect the formation of the infant. There is no filter here. The baby receives chemical and peptide changes from the emotions of the mother, and how she can then pass that on unwittingly to her infant. And this is why each child is very, very different, because mum is different. This is where they can have different digestive systems, different nervous systems, etc., in that particular child, because of the situation during, obviously, the birth that takes place. So topically, I normally suggest aloe vera gel mixed with propolis. It has a lot of nutrients within aloe vera gel and propolis, and the two mixed together. The propolis is very dry and the aloe vera gives it more of that viscous application. This helps to repair the skin and helps to put nutrients back into the skin, whereas the other creams, from my understanding from aloe vera gel and propolis, certainly we need to help to change the digestive enzymes for the baby. There's no way of measuring the digestive enzymes for anyone. Certainly hair analysis helps, but the digestive enzymes, we need to rebalance that imbalance within the digestive system. And the vagus nerve realignment. The vagus nerve is really, really important, and that travels from the back of the head down to the major organs of the body. And the vagus nerve tells the digestive system when to churn, when to excrete, all of those different things. if that is out of alignment, which it very often is from challenging births, long births, etc., and these impairments start to show as the baby grows. Nutrients to strengthen the skin and digestion, they are nutrients such as zinc, vitamin C, etc., helps then the body to work from the inside out for the infant. And the changes to help the skin and digestive system, malabsorption, recover. Some of the things here we would use for toddlers and teens, adults, eliminating the foods that are irritating the body, increasing water consumption, reducing stress, and there are some homeopathic remedies. There's allergy testing. Allergy testing won't take place until a child is about 3, I think is the earliest that they start the allergy testing. But certainly it would tell you what you are allergic to, but it doesn't tell you how to fix it or how to correct it. And checking the washing detergent used. Lots of people have eczema or dermatitis on their hands, and very often it would be say, well, it's a detergent that you're using, or the things that you're putting in the washing machine, the soap powder you put in the washing machine, etc. But essentially it's underlying trauma and stress. You remove that trauma and stress, the skin returns, the issue goes away. Essential fatty acids are part of the solution, part of the cause. Certainly, essential fatty acids can make the skin very dry. The lack of, by increasing the essential fatty acids in the diet, such as avocados, fish, salmon, those sort of things, helps to get that omega-3, 6, and 9 back into the body again, that then starts to give us this smoother skin, softer skin, then helps us to be happier. The skin is happier. You're able to excrete through skin as well as bowel, enabling the skin to be healthy. Allergies is essentially down to the immune system and the irritation around the lack of immunity. Certainly with hay fever, etc., it is the sinuses and the sensitivity in the nose, etc. They become raw because of the effects. When immunity is low, this is where these things start to come out. Again, it's the result of rather than the cause. So again, it's looking back to what is going on for the individual. Again, it can be part of the lymph system that isn't working correctly, can also eliminate poisons and toxins from the body, and that can come from the environment as well as what we're eating. It depends what is compatible to us. We have these weaknesses around the body, and this is where these things then come out. Certainly the immunity also relies upon the lymph, the digestive system, the kidneys, etc., to excrete, and when we don't have that, we have an imbalance. Certainly within the small intestine, we have called Peyer's patches that are part of your immunity as well as lymph system working through them. All of these systems all rely on one another for us to stay healthy. And if one system is out, it creates a weakness and this domino effect that then comes out in different ways within the individual. So again, we come back to the diet. People go to a point of where they eat extreme to try and reduce the effects of their allergies. So they may become vegetarian, only eating fish, chicken, or rice, etc., to try and slow down the reactions of the physical disability or disorders the child or adult is living. Allergies from disorders from the diet can affect eczema, digestive problems, sinus, ear, nose, and throat disorders, can all be outcomes from allergies. We need to go back and look at the immune system, improve the immune, you then improve the other side of the coin. When vitamins and minerals are depleted in our fruit and veg because early harvesting, storage systems, we are not getting the vitamins and minerals that our great grandparents did. We process an awful lot of food. Therefore, in some oranges, boxes of oranges they've tested, and this is going back about 30 years ago, there was no vitamin C. We can be eating food that is not giving us the vitamins and minerals that we are expected to absorb and keep our body healthy. When intolerances occur in our children, they show signs of disorders such as eczema, etc. The other thing to remember is that our animals and fowl are fed antibiotic hormones and chemicals, and this comes into our food chain. Even if you do think you're eating healthily, you may be absorbing some of this too. We need to be looking at changing or thinking about the bigger picture here of what we are ingesting. In children, sugar, chocolate can be like a drug, can create hyperactivity. They may not have ADHD, but they can have hyperactivity because of what they are ingesting through their food. The body starts to overreact, and when it overreacts, systems become faulty. Certainly the hyperactivity or tantrum that comes from sugar, chocolate, sodas, all of these sort of things, it causes mood swings and or allergies. When you start taking and looking at diet for children and adults, it's quite shocking, the diet that they are eating. They're not getting the good building blocks within their daily consumption. Of course, the body will decline because it's not getting those building blocks. It's not getting those base foundation foods that the body needs. Adverse food reactions. And many factors may have happened to weaken internal systems, and we can go so far, and then it starts to fall. We need the variety in food, but we also need supplement these days with vitamins and minerals, because one of the things with children and eczema is lack of vitamin zinc is a mineral, and vitamin C. Vitamin C opens the gate for other foods and good nutrition to be absorbed into the body. Malabsorption is where you can be eating everything right, but the body is not going to take it on board. The breakdown in the digestive system then starts to affect the lymph, bowel, the bladder, etc. And then, of course, there is skin disorders. Trauma can also cause malabsorption. So when we have the fight or flight reaction from our adrenal glands, that is caused by stress or when under pressure. This reaction can be turned on and off like a switch many times a day. And the first thing the body will do is to recruit energy from other parts of the body to be able to run away or fight. One of the first systems to close down or put on hold is the digestive system. And this can be out of action for several hours at a time. So we can see how over time the digestive system can become abnormal and dysfunctional. So we were talking about the vagus nerve connection. That can be a problem for all ages. And the central nervous system releases chemicals that tells the stomach when to produce acid, when to churn, when to rest. And it will slow our heart rate, stimulates digestion, and is connected to our taste buds. The vagus nerve imbalances from birth process can also play a part in gut malabsorption. When the head is in a particular angle in the birth canal during labor, especially in long labors, contraindicators can occur, and they can affect the efficiency and connection of the vagus nerve. I'm working with young babies, as I've done for over 2 decades. I have found that the nervous system is very much involved in depletion, which then goes on to affect, the knock-on effect is in digestion. The sensitivities that come from allergies, etc., are very much when we have creams and other medication. Of course, if it's got lactose in it, we are going to become extra sensitive. We are living on the edge, as it were, in the internal state, and the body can't cope with what is being fed to it, the reactions, actions that are happening. And so that's where we start to have the system decline and those issues coming out around skin allergies. Around asthma is very much shock from birth, the shock that goes into the upper torso, gasping for air. It can be, I found it to have involved with children that had the cord around the neck, but also the shock and trauma from birth that lasts. And the other side of the coin is not going through the birth canal, where fluids are squeezed out of the baby as it comes through the birth canal. So it misses lots of different processes, or misses out on those processes, and then the body then react accordingly because it hasn't received them. There are contraindicators. Hair analysis for children and adults that actually indicates the malabsorption, the lack of nutrients and vitamins. It will also show levels of mercury, aluminium that we can have in our bodies, up and down. The low levels or too much of something that can also cause these imbalances. We've got time for some Q&A now. If you would like more information, a free 30-minute consultation, please contact Joy Wisdom Trust. And if I move my head out of the way, you can see there www.joywisdomtrust.org. We are a not-for-profit or non-profit organization. Alleviate your child's suffering and the family's distress. We can make them more comfortable, the home environment more comfortable quickly, and turning their life around. Let's prevent and avoid with more education and helping women and parents understand the knock-on effect from birth trauma to eczema to behavior issues on to ADHD. Check out the website and you can find more videos on different subjects, including birth trauma and ADHD. I look forward to meeting you at some point. Thank you for listening.